Hey guys, welcome back to the Prehistoric Life Podcast. And today we are doing an episode, scratch that, another battle. What? Yeah, we're doing another battle from Prehistoric Life Podcast. And today it is two dinosaurs that I have actually not touched at all. So funny enough, I actually had to do all of the research and all of that the week of this episode, but y'all guys can read the title. Let me see if I can see. It is Majungasaururs. Let me make sure I pronounce this right. Versus Riparovenator. I think I pronounced that right. So we have the Abelisaurus from Madagascar versus the Spinosaurus. I was about to say of Wales, but it's Wessex of England. So one drinks tea, one I don't know. What does Madagascar? One likes lemurs. I don't know. That's all I'm remembering. But so we're gonna dive right into it. This is not a full analysis of these dinosaurs. I will actually have those coming out later on. I will do individual episodes on them, but this will just be like base stats where I talk about them. And I'm gonna go ahead and start with Majungasaurus. So Majungasaurus was 23 feet long and weighed 1 to 1.4 ish tons. And it was about 7.87, so about 8 feet ish tall. Yeah. So it was bigger than a human. Don't get me wrong. Here it is. So there is like the comparison to like a normal person, and it is an Abelisaur. And if I am not mistaken, it actually hunted sauropods. The prey item usually referring to Majungasaurus is the Titanosaurus rapatosaurus. So this thing hunted sauropods. So we do need to keep that in mind during this. So this thing is used to bringing down bigger prey. I don't think it's bite force. I actually have the bite force pulled up. Majungasaurus bite force. So 3,140 newtons for the front jaws, for the front of its jaws. So that's like the front teeth. So I wish I had the Majungasaurus skull from fossil crates. And trust me, I'm going to get that. Dr. Brian Curtis, if you're listening to me, I'm going to get that for the episode. I'm just thinking out loud here. But it's 7,845 newtons for the back teeth. So if you don't know what that means, that's like the very front of the jaws. Like, so think about it like molars versus like the front teeth, whatever you call them. Actually, this is a bad example for Majungasaurus, but it is a good example. So think about it like the front teeth here versus like the side and the back teeth. So it's probably not just biting with the front of its teeth if it's getting like a real good hold of something. So, and it's definitely, you can break bone with 4,000 psi. So it's definitely breaking bone. But yeah, that's Majungasaurus. So yeah, Riparovenator is like a Spinosaurus suchiomimid. I actually had to go out and find my own kind of research for this, and I kind of filled in some gaps. I know that's probably really bad, but this is all prehistoric wildlife had to give me. And I wrote pretty much all of that down. Riparovenator is a genus of Spinosaurus dinosaur that lived in the British Isles during the early Cretaceous. Riparovenator was named alongside the Spinosaurus called Ceratosaucops. So it's a Spinosaurus, but yeah, I was like, okay, I don't really know what to do with that. I looked up bite force. I couldn't find anything on bite force, so I compared it to Baryonyx. So Baryonyx is the yellow one right here, this yellow one. While Riparovenator is actually the green one. And as you can see, it's about the same size, if not like slightly bigger. Standing at 28 feet long, weighing about 1.4 to 2-ish tons, and about 9-ish feet tall, give or take. Well, how tall did I say Baryonyx was? Yeah. Actually, I'd go with about 8 foot. It's about as big as Majungasaururs in height. I'd actually go about 8 foot, not 9 foot. Considering that it's about the same size as Baryonyx. So, to be fair to Riparovenator, since I couldn't actually find anything on its bite force, I'm just going with the Baryonyx bite force, considering that it's a very similar build. So I'm going about 4,000 psi, which is 2 times the amount to break bone. But as we know, Majungasaurus, the front teeth are just slightly too weak to break bone. So let's go back to Majungasaurus bite force real quick, so we can actually analyze that real quick. So as you can see, the front teeth are barely weaker, like barely weak enough to bite force, or they're like bite and break bone. But those back teeth, we're going with like a puny 4K bite force to be fair with Riparovenator. But it can definitely bite strong enough. But Majungasaurus, its back teeth, its back jaw teeth are not 2 times. Since what did I say? How much psi to break bone? Let's just 1,700. So that's the human femur. Jesus, that's got to be painful. So it can break human bone, and that is, God forbid, like 7 times greater almost. So this thing is doing more than breaking human bone. It's just like severing limbs, basically. This thing is just a menace whenever it comes to bone. The front teeth are about as strong as Riparovenator's bite force, but those back teeth are just biting limbs off just completely. So, yeah, this thing is like a sauropod hunter. It hunted Rapatosaurus. So, and if a non-avian dinosaur did not all bite the dust at the end of Cretaceous, Majungasaurus might have evolved into an enormous ostrich-like animal with no arms, but with very strong legs. So this thing's legs were just beastly too. So I mean, honestly, this thing's kind of got the upper hand. But I'm gonna jump straight into this battle and hope it doesn't end too quick. I feel like Majungasaurus kind of has the upper hand. It's a sauropod hunter. It's got an insane bite force, very strong legs. Riparovenator does have longer arms in those big claws that are kind of signature to the Spinosaurid long snout, as I like to call them, family. And don't get me wrong, its bite force is not some pity bite force, but compared to Majungasaurus, it's kind of getting slapped around a little bit. It might have had the last fight. Baryonyx might have had the last fight against Kentrosaurus, and I may have given it the win there, but I don't think I think Majungasaurus is personally going to come out on top. And that's probably how I'm going to play this out. But let's get into the battle with some gruesome details. So Majungasaurus stalking some baby Rapatosaurus, while Riparovenator swims out to prehistoric Madagascar, lost at sea. It hits landfall and roars, startling the sauropod Rapatosaurus, making it bolt. A little bit agitated because it just lost its lunch. Majungasaurus reveals itself from the jungle, from the surrounding area, roaring out to Riparovenator. Riparovenator quickly stands its ground, ever so slightly taller than Majungasaurus, but Majungasaurus doesn't back down. It's used to facing bigger dinosaurs. Riparovenator charges in with its snout open. Majungasaurus quickly bolts back with its powerful legs, quickly dodging the jaws of Riparovenator, only barely being scratched by the front jaws. Majungasaurus quickly bites at the face of Riparovenator, but Riparovenator is able to jolt its head back. The front teeth of Majungasaurus barely scathe and tear at the flesh of the bottom jaw. Riparovenator takes his finger and slashes at Majungasaurus' face, cutting it wide open. Majungasaurus is not playing anymore. It quickly charges in and bucks and hits right on the stomach of Riparovenator, headbutting it. It's got that little bump on its head, so it whack right in the stomach of Riparovenator, not winding it. Riparovenator goes to claw at its face. Majungasaurus is able to get its side jaw teeth around its arm, biting its hand clean off with just minimal effort, ripping the whole arm of Riparovenator just clean off. Riparovenator quickly stumbles back, scared, startled, worried. Majungasaurus isn't able to slash with its hands, but its jaws aren't anything to play with. Riparovenator roars out at Majungasaurus as Majungasaurus charges in again, going to bite for the face of Riparovenator. Riparovenator quickly jolts back, but Majungasaurus is quicker, able to land a huge just bite right on the cranial face of Riparovenator, keeping its snout shut as it starts to bite down with its back jaws, crunching its face. Riparovenator is quickly able to pull its face out, tearing the flesh of the very top and the bottom of the jaws. Majungasaurus is agitated, but it's used to facing bigger prey. Riparovenator quickly gets a hold of Majungasaurus' neck, but the rough skin it's hard to penetrate. In that bull neck of Majungasaurus, it's hard to bite through. But Riparovenator doesn't have a puny bite force, so it's able to start to snap down like an alligator. Riparovenator begins to shake its head and jolt and shake and try to tear flesh from Majungasaurus' throat. Majungasaurus isn't able to actually get free. Its hands are too tiny. But its legs, it gets in a good stance and just kicks off, and it's able to tear out of the jaws of Riparovenator. As Majungasaurus screams out in pain and agony, it looks over at Riparovenator, facing it sideways, angered, just bloodlust in its eyes as it charges in, jaws wide open. Riparovenator is able to snap at the face of Majungasaurus, but Majungasaurus snaps back, just tearing the whole front of the snout, just ripping it to shreds. The front teeth bite down and just rip the skin clean off of the nose. Riparovenator startled. The sensor on its nose are going crazy. Its brain is going wild. Its nose smells nothing but its own blood as it just frantically looks around, not knowing what's going on. But Majungasaurus quickly headbutts Riparovenator on the bottom jaw, knocking it around even more, shaking its brain as it bites down on the face of Riparovenator, crunching again as it rips more and more flesh off. Majungasaurus, with its powerful legs, is able to buck Riparovenator onto its side as it quickly bites down on the stomach. It can't get its back jaws. Its jaw is too tiny, but it's able to tear with its front teeth, ripping the flesh as Riparovenator kicks at Majungasaurus' face. But Majungasaurus is able to put its foot on Riparovenator's leg and just pin it down as Riparovenator quickly turns its head and just snaps at the side of Majungasaurus' neck, tearing off some flesh, but it's not enough to actually matter. Riparovenator, its jaw is long, its bite force is powerful, but Majungasaurus, its legs are too strong. It's holding Riparovenator down as Majungasaurus looks at the leg, bites down on the thigh, and just rips flesh from bone, just rips it clean off, getting as much as it can in its entire jaw, and just starts to eat it. As Riparovenator lies there, bleeding, unable to get back up, Majungasaurus starts to devour the stomach and the sides, moving rib cages, ripping them off, breaking them with its jaws. Riparovenator has no choice but to scream out in pain. Majungasaurus finally just gets agitated of its roar, bites down on the neck of Riparovenator with its jaws, and just begins to close and lock and just snap. The neck of Riparovenator is broken. If it's not dead, it's definitely paralyzed from the neck down. There's nothing it can do. Its eyes fill with blood as it spits up the last bit of blood. Riparovenator slips off and dies. Majungasaurus roars out in victory as it continues to devour Riparovenator. So, yeah, like I said, I think Majungasaurus had this one in the bag. It's a sauropod hunter. Its legs were powerful. It's used to hunting bigger prey. Riparovenator is used to sitting in a river and picking out, like, fish. I don't think Riparovenator had a good victory line here. No offense. I think this dinosaur is really cool, and the lack of knowledge about it is really interesting, and I hope we find something about that. But Majungasaurus is definitely got that advantage. It's especially since his bat jaws are like almost 2 times stronger than just like all of Riparovenator's bite force, because I'm comparing it to Baryonyx since it has a similar build, similar size, I would assume. So I think it's just basically just like, don't mess with me. Riparovenator bites it, and then if Majungasaurus can get those back teeth around it, it's just like snap 2 times as hard. It's like, I don't know if Riparovenator had that one. And the front teeth of Majungasaurus were like almost as strong as Riparovenator's bite force. So I mean, Majungasaurus was definitely causing some damage and was definitely a menace to society. It probably hunted baby dinosaurs and things like that. I don't know how often they would go after, well, actually, so it actually go after these bad boys, which are about 27 feet tall. So they're a bit bigger, but Majungasaurus was definitely hunting them. We have found them alongside Pachycephalosaurus. So it was used to fighting dinosaurs off that would A, fight back, not just run, and B, were possibly bigger, if not almost the same size. So it definitely had like a skill advantage, if you want to call it that, if that makes sense. Like, it definitely was able to fight off like dinosaurs similar in size, similar in build. Well, not in build, because I'm sure Majungasaurus fought each other all the time, so I wouldn't be surprised. But it was definitely used to fighting off at least larger prey that was able to fight back, defend itself, or trample this thing, basically. But Riparovenator, it definitely had capability, and as much as I'd love to just put it up against Baryonyx, it's not going to happen. And I have a feeling Majungasaurus versus Baryonyx is going to end very similarly. But although now that I think back, now that I'm looking at it, Majungasaurus won't fight Baryonyx. Allosaurus will fight Baryonyx, but I'm expecting a very similar outcome there. Majungasaurus will fight whoever wins Acrocanthosaurus and Patagotitan. Ooh, that's going to be an interesting fight. So we have Patagotitan and Acrocanthosaurus are next. So that's going to be very interesting. I think Acrocanthosaurus hunted some sauropods, I think. No, I don't think so. I'll tell you all about it in that episode, so you got to tune in and watch that. So, yeah, this has been Majungasaurus versus Riparovenator. Our victor, Majungasaurus. So, tune in next time. Also, remember, if you want to see some amazing dinosaurs along the way. Just out and about. Go check out Dinosaur Trips. I have Red Rocks and Raptors pulled up because that's the one Dr. Brian Curtis himself is leading. So that's just the one I have pulled up. Their Instagram, Dinosaur Trips. So yeah, go check them out. They got a lot of amazing stuff there. They talk a lot of amazing stuff. While you're checking them out on Instagram, remember to check me out on Instagram too. It's at Prehistoric Life Podcast. I got a lot of amazing content. I recently did an episode with Nova Studios that will be out this week. Actually, it comes out on everything else the same day this will. So, yep. If you want my content a little bit earlier, where it usually comes out earlier is the YouTube. So go check that out. There's Sky. There should be, but yeah, you can see the last fight, Baryonyx versus Kentrosaurus. I did really not know who was going to win that one, but I pulled Baryonyx out for that. But yeah, and if you want all of that in one place, remember to follow me on Instagram, on YouTube. But if you want to go see all of those in one place, go check out the Prehistoric Wildlife. Yeah, if you want to go do your own research about these things, go check out Prehistoric Wildlife. But go check out prehistoriclifepodcast.com. I have all of the content in one place. So yeah, go check that out. Well, I'm your host, Eric Crawford, signing off. This has been Majungasaururs versus Riparovenator. Remember, keep it prehistoric. Bye.